So if we have some chords, and a lot of you guys go out, a lot of us go out, we guitar players, go out and we want, just because we're into rock or simple chords early on, and we're thinking, you know what, there's a blues song, maybe it's and you'll throw in a chord because you saw some guy do it. And you'll go out and see a guy do the same song, and maybe once in a while you run into a jazzier player and you're like, wow, that's really cool what he did. How did he do that? He comes in with these chords you don't really know. And you want a system for figuring out these chords. Little statements made. Instead of going like this, the guy goes, you're wondering, what did he just do? That was really cool. I want to show you a system for figuring out how to play seventh chords. My name's Michael Chodosh. I'm with Chodosh Guitar, and I teach in the Denver area. I'm in a band called Cherry Veil, like a veiled cherry. This is lesson number 6, and it's going to be called chord exercise number 1. And what I'm going to do is, instead of all these chords that you normally play, the major and the minor chords that early on we're exposed to, they're incredibly powerful and they're wonderful chords. But I'd like to see you add some 4-note chords. And a 4-note chord is really meaning that you have the 1, 3, 5, and you've added the 7th. So where do we go with that? The first thing you want to do is have some sort of a study in what I call a drop 3 or a drop 2 study. And I'm going to start you with a drop 3. So if you were to take the notes G, B, D, and F sharp and take the 3rd note from the top, that one, and bring it down an octave. So we've got 1, 3, 5, 7. And if we were to drop that note down, it would become a drop 3 chord. And the shapes of the drop 3s are like this on this particular string. And you'll find them also on the 5th. And when we use these chords, we try not to mess it up like that. So what we're doing is we're coming up with a really full sound. And you'll notice that we're not playing the 5th string. We're going to go the 6th string, we're going to mute the 5th string, we're going to play the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd, and that's a drop 3 chord. When I do the chord melody, I'm going back and forth between drop 2 and drop 3 chords. You don't have to go with a chord melody to use these. Right? These are all drop 3s with some drop 2s added in. I think they're really cool sounding and they're beautiful. And you'll find that there are going to be times where you have a ballad to play or something to play that you really can't get away with the simple 3-note chords, because you're beginning to sound like you're copying the piano player who's just... I'm not saying they just use those, but you do start to sound like a piano player sitting here just going that, you know, like his right hand, or his part of his right hand, because you need extra notes sometimes, which, let's face, on the guitar we're limited to less, so we have to figure out how to play more. And the first chord I want to show you is a G major 7. I'm going to call it the drop 3 major 7 with the 5th melody note on the 2nd string. Now, that sounds complicated, but the fact is drop 3 means we're skipping the 5th string and playing, that's to you will be a drop 3 for now, and the 1st string. And you think about the voicing I pulled it from. It doesn't really matter if you get that or not. What matters is that you remember this is called a drop 3. Horn players in groups play this a lot. The first voicing is going to be on a major 7, which is the 1, 3, 5, and major 7th in the voicing. And it's a G major 7. The root is on the 6th string, but what I really want you to remember is that the melody is on the 5th string. I'm sorry, on the 2nd string. The melody is the 5th on the 2nd string. So let's start off with that one. Get to know that major 7. Now once you get good at that major 7, I want you to try this exercise. And it's going to work like this. It's pretty complicated, so you want to write this down. The major 7 is going to have 1, 3, 5, and 7. The dominant 7th, or what you just think of as a 7th chord, has the 1, 3, 5, and the flat 7. So we're going to flat the 7 to make it a dominant 7th, or a G7, is what you can call it. Then we're going to have G minor 7, which is going to have 1 flat 3, 5, and flat 7. So you're going to flat that. Now the way we're going to reach these is by remembering that on this instrument, in this particular chord, we have the root, then the 7th, then the 3rd, and then the 5th. So the root is on the 6th string, the 7th is on the 4th string, the 3rd is on the 3rd string, and the 5th is on the 2nd string. So remembering that, and I should hopefully have drawn some sort of a diagram for you to remember that. But I want you to write it down if you would please. Remember, it's root 7, 3, 5 in this particular chord. To turn it into a 7th chord, we're going to flat the 7th from major 7th to dominant 7th, or 7th chord. To make it minor 7th, we're going to flat the 3rd to make it a minor 3rd. Now we've got root, flat 7, flat 3, and 5. To make it minor 7, flat 5, we're going to flat the 5th, which is on the 2nd string. Now it's root, flat 7, flat 3, and flat 5. And to make it diminished, we're going to flat the 7th a 2nd time. It's a double flat 7. On the 4th string, we're going to flat that note again. And now we're root, double flat 7, flat 3, flat 5. We're going to come back up to minor 7, flat, and that's a diminished chord, diminished 7th chord. We're going to go from diminished 7 to minor 7, flat 5 again. We're going to go minor 7. We're going to go dominant 7. We're going to go 7 sus. We're going to go 7. We're going to 7 flat 5. And we're going to flat, the 7 sus, by the way, means we're going to raise the 3rd on the 3rd string to the 4. And then we're going to jump to a 7th chord, back to the 7th, but we're going to flat the 5th on the 2nd string. Then we're going to go to the 7 aug 5, meaning we're going to raise the 5 a fret above on the 2nd string. So we'll have 1 flat 7, 3, and aug 5. Then we're going to end on G major 7th. You ready for this? It's going to take some manipulation. Remember, root 7, 3, 5. The next chord you go to, and you're going to have to study these one at a time before you can get caught up and play this exercise. But we'll wait for you. We'll be on YouTube or wherever you're finding this. And we'll go ahead and make it so you can play this again. And when you play this again, here's the actual exercise that you'll be looking to play. G major 7, G7, G minor 7, G minor 7, flat 5, G diminished 7, G minor 7, flat 5, G minor 7, G7, G7 sus, G7 flat 5, G7 aug 5 to G major 7. Let's do it again. And G major 7, G7, G minor 7, G minor 7 flat 5, G minor diminished 7, G minor 7 flat 5, G minor 7, G7, G7 sus, G7 flat 5, G7 aug 5 to G major 7. One more time. 2, 3, 4, and stop. Now, when you get that done, we're going to run through all of those with all the different chords in the drop 3s and with all the different drop 2 chords. So, when we're looking at drop 2s, those 4 chords coming off of the first 4 strings, and we'll do the same thing with the inside 4, and we'll do the same thing with the bass 4, and We'll do the same thing also with another set of drop threes that come off the 5th string. So there will be 20 different chords really. But by the time you're done with 2 of them, you really automatically know how to apply them. So don't think of it as learning 20 different chords and forms. Really think of it as learning that one chord properly. And after a little bit of study, you're going to come back and go, you know what? I can handle this. You don't even really need to show me. But we'll do the exercise together. And then I'll have some other exercises for you. Very simple, even easier than what we just did. Where we're going to climb up the neck and learn how to play the chords in each key. And when we're doing that, we're getting to the point. Try and do this in every key. Then we're going to get to where you can play these different chords. Oh, and then of course we'll come back and add some tensions. And that'll be where we're adding from this chord. We can add the 13 on the 2nd string. We can also add the 9 on the 1st string. And that's where you guys are loving that sound. At least that's what I love. And I'm not really a jazz player. I'm just a guy who tries to play jazz. I'm more of a rocker. But I think respecting these chords and learning how to do them is going to be great for your sound no matter what you're doing. In particular, when you go into writing something or some voicing that you might even just simply want to take 2 of these chords and work on them together and write a new song. It's really expanding in your world. So, using drop 2s, if you can come up with a melody, looking at a song, all of these chords are drawn from that sort of a study where we understand how to create those different chords. My name is Michael Chodosh. That's lesson number 6, and it's about chords, the drop 3, major 7th chord, exercise number 1, with the melody being the 5th on the 2nd string. Thanks for watching, and I hope this works for you. Send any comments if you do have any on the site, and as well you can email me, michael@cherryveil.com. Cherryveil is Cherryveil. Also, you can call me at the number. All the information should be down on the bottom of the screen by now, and I'll look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.